Melting permafrost in Svalbard. 4 people have died and hundreds more impacted by the side effects of thawing permafrost in Longyearbyen, Svalbard. Permafrost is ground, soil, or rock that remains at or below 0 degrees Celsius for at least 2 consecutive years. It is found under an active layer that melts each summer, but this has been deepening as a ripple effect of climate change. As more heat is trapped in our atmosphere by greenhouse gases, the temperature increases and disrupts weather patterns as moisture is moved by heat and being sent further north. Warmer atmosphere melts the ice that reflects the sun rays, increasing the warming effects. Melting permafrost adds to this cycle. For every 1 degree Celsius rise in the Earth's average temperature, studies show that permafrost may release the equivalent of 4 to 6 years' worth of coal, oil, and natural gas emissions. Increased moisture in the air makes for heavier snowfall, which in turn blankets the ground, trapping the warmth underneath and spreading the thaw. Water drains into lower layers and thaws them as well, sometimes even forming puddles and ponds above. Water pooling in these crevices dries the Arctic tundra, leaving the regions more susceptible to wildfires. Longyearbyen is the world's most northern permanent community. The Svalbard Treaty allows Norwegian government authority, but the cluster of islands are an economic, free, and demilitarized zone, with a population of 2,379 people consisting of 50 nationalities. Originally, it was a stopover place for whalers, hunters, and trappers, but in 1906 its first mine was established, and Longyearbyen was born as a miner's town. Since then, infrastructure has come from the Norwegian government and the University of Svalbard. Building area is restricted due to nature reserves covering 2/3 of the archipelago, and with glaciers, mountains, and fjords, humans had to find their own place in this wilderness. Most of the houses in Longyearbyen are built on wooden piles frozen into the permafrost to allow the melting of the active layer. But as the permafrost melts, the land becomes unstable. New preventative measures have been put in place since the 2015 tragedy, such as avalanche barriers and evacuation protocols. Statsberg's new design for future buildings have metal poles secured into bedrock 15 meters beneath the permafrost. This image shows a large area that has been rezoned. These buildings contain approximately 100 people who get evacuated during avalanche season, sometimes for months at a time. And with nowhere else to go, some share, while others sleep in their stores. As the permafrost continues to melt, snowmobiles and dog sledding may become less viable, impacting the tourist industries and people's way of life. This led to a decline in residency since the year of the first deadly avalanche until 2019 when the data was collected. Research and hunters alike still reside in outskirt communities, but Longyearbyen is Svalbard's only modern functioning town. A report came out in 2019 detailing all of the impacts the changing climate would have on Longyearbyen over the coming 80 years. The impact on infrastructure will be costly and require innovation to maintain human inhabitants. Already, updates to the renownedly secure global sea vault cost $36.2 million when the entrance flooded in 2017. The vault was built underground into the permafrost in the most northern town to safeguard the content, and yet that $16.3 million project did not last. Svalbard is a unique environment where life is full and vibrant in the 3 months of midnight sun. This is when all creatures stock up and breed before they bear through the 3 months of polar night. The increase of water will bring sediment into the streams, widen and deepen the banks, expanding on an already minimal grazing area. It may introduce species that were unable to inhabit this environment before and unbalance the natural order. Multiple bird species migrate here in the summer to use the cliffs as breeding grounds, but only the Svalbard reindeer and Arctic fox are found exclusively on these lands. Already, Norwegian Polar Institute are finding dead reindeer earlier in the season because their hooves cannot break through the water frozen on top of the grass. The melting sea ice is also driving more polar bears into land in search of food. This adds higher risk to a town that has walking around with a rifle as a safety requirement. More unfrozen soil allows thick and sturdier plant life, while excessive water may create mud fields that kill the vegetation. This loss of biodiversity at the base of the food pyramid affects all creatures above. In Longyearbyen, Svalbard's new housing design secures housing and infrastructure for the future. But many ways of life will have to adapt to the coming changes. Reduction to the community's carbon footprint, as addressed in the Spitsbergen 2100 report, is essential. But international collaboration is required not only to slow global warming, but to slow the melting of permafrost as well.